Cliff Richard was born Harry Roger Webb on October 14, 1940, in Lucknow, India, during the final years of British rule. When his family relocated to England in 1948, he entered a nation still healing from war, scarcity, and uncertainty. Growing up in modest conditions in Cheshunt, Hertfordshire, Cliff discovered American rock and roll through the crackle of radios and imported records. Elvis Presley and Little Richard became symbols of freedom and energy, offering escape from grey post-war life. What began as admiration soon became ambition. Cliff didn't simply want to listen to music, he wanted to embody it. That hunger set him apart. By his late teens, he wasn't chasing trends, he was creating them. Long before British rock had a global identity, Cliff Richard was already shaping one, unknowingly laying the groundwork for an entire musical movement that would soon take over the world. The song that started a cultural shift. In 1958, Cliff Richard ignited a revolution with Move It, a record now widely regarded as Britain's first true rock and roll song. Its driving rhythm, sharp guitar, and raw confidence marked a turning point for British music. Audiences heard something new, something that didn't imitate America but stood beside it. Cliff and his band, initially called the Drifters and later renamed the Shadows, quickly became a sensation. Their partnership defined an era, blending Cliff's smooth yet energetic vocals with the Shadows' innovative instrumental sound. Hits like Living Doll, Please Don't Tease, and The Young Ones followed, capturing youthful optimism and rebellion without losing charm. Cliff became Britain's answer to Elvis, not by copying him, but by translating rock and roll into a distinctly British voice. His rise wasn't accidental, it was perfectly timed, filling a cultural hunger Britain didn't yet know how to name. Adapting while others fell away. When the Beatles exploded onto the scene in the early 1960s, many believed Cliff Richard's era would end. Instead, he adapted. While others struggled to evolve, Cliff reshaped his sound and image with remarkable instinct. He moved from hard-edged rock into pop ballads, musical films, and later spiritual music without losing authenticity. Songs like Congratulations, famously performed at the Eurovision Song Contest in 1968, showed his ability to connect emotionally across generations. Cliff understood something essential. Longevity requires humility. Rather than compete with younger artists, he grew alongside them. His clean-cut image, often underestimated, became his strength. It allowed him to remain accessible while musical trends shifted wildly around him. Cliff didn't resist change. He welcomed it, ensuring his place in British music wasn't defined by one decade, but by a lifetime of evolution. Faith, reinvention, and enduring success. Cliff Richard's conversion to Christianity in the mid-1960s reshaped his life and career. Unlike many artists who relied on controversy to stay relevant, Cliff chose conviction and consistency. His faith didn't distance audiences, it deepened their respect. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, he enjoyed renewed chart success with songs like Devil Woman, We Don't Talk Anymore, and Dreaming, proving he could reinvent himself without abandoning his values. He balanced showmanship with sincerity, pop success with spiritual reflection. This balance became his signature. Cliff didn't chase rebellion, he offered reassurance. Over time, that approach made him unique in an industry often defined by excess. Fans trusted him. He represented stability in a rapidly changing world. His career wasn't fueled by shock, but by dedication, discipline, and an unwavering love for music that never felt forced or calculated. Records, honors, and an unmatched legacy. Few artists in history can rival Cliff Richard's achievements. With over 250 million records sold worldwide, he stands among the best-selling musicians of all time. He remains the only artist to score UK top 5 hits across 6 consecutive decades, from the 1950s through the 2010s. A feat unmatched in British chart history. In 1995, he was knighted, becoming Sir Cliff Richard, the first rock and roll artist to receive such an honour. Awards followed, including Brit Awards and Ivor Novello recognition, celebrating both his music and philanthropy. Yet what truly defines Cliff is not the trophies, but the trust he earned. In an industry often scarred by scandal, he maintained dignity and grace. His reputation became synonymous with professionalism, kindness, and perseverance, proving that longevity is not just about talent, but about character. A private life lived with quiet grace. Despite global fame, Cliff Richard remained deeply private. He never married, choosing instead to devote his life to faith, friendships, and creative expression. Dividing his time between homes in the UK, Barbados, and Portugal, Cliff embraced simplicity away from the spotlight. Colleagues consistently describe him as courteous, punctual, and respectful, someone who treated everyone equally, regardless of status. Even in later years, his enthusiasm for performing never faded. Concerts became celebrations rather than obligations, filled with gratitude and shared history. Cliff didn't perform to relive the past, he performed to honor it. Each appearance felt like a conversation with fans who had grown alongside him. His ability to remain grounded after decades of adoration speaks volumes. Fame never defined him. Instead, it became something he carried lightly, never allowing it to overshadow who he truly was. Returning to roots and defying time. In his 70s and 80s, Cliff Richard continued proving that age need not limit creativity. Albums like the Fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook and Just Fabulous Rock and Roll paid tribute to the music that inspired him, blending nostalgia with fresh energy. Their chart success reaffirmed his enduring appeal. In 2018, Rise Up marked a return to original material, reflecting resilience and optimism. Later releases, including The Air That I Breathe and Christmas with Cliff, showcased his versatility and warmth. Few artists managed to chart in the top 10 more than 60 years after debuting. Cliff did it with grace. These later works weren't about relevance, they were about joy. He continued making music because he loved it, and audiences felt that sincerity. His voice carried history, experience, and an undiminished passion that defied time itself. Meeting George Harrison beyond the spotlight. Now at 85, Cliff Richard reflects with honesty on his connection to George Harrison. Their first meeting in the early 1960s was quiet, unremarkable, and sincere. Cliff was already a star. George was just beginning his ascent with the Beatles. What struck Cliff wasn't fame, but George's introspective nature. He described George as shy, thoughtful, and deeply spiritual, even before the world recognized it. Over time, their bond grew through mutual respect rather than constant contact. They spoke about faith from different perspectives. Cliff grounded in Christianity, George exploring Eastern philosophy. Yet both sought peace, truth, and meaning. George once told Cliff that all paths lead to the same place if the heart is sincere. That sentiment stayed with him. Their conversations weren't debates, but reflections. Two artists searching for harmony beyond applause and expectation. Gratitude, loss, and a shared humanity. After George Harrison's death in 2001, Cliff felt a profound sense of loss. Though they weren't inseparable friends, George's presence had quietly shaped his thinking. Cliff admired George's courage to step away from fame, something he himself never fully managed. He respected George's refusal to let celebrity define his soul. Looking back now, Cliff sees their friendship as a reminder that artistry is not about charts, but truth. Fame elevates, but it can also imprison. George chose simplicity. Cliff chose endurance. Both paths carried meaning. Today, Cliff speaks not with nostalgia, but gratitude. He is thankful for the connection, however subtle, between two men shaped by music and faith. Their bond stands as proof that genuine respect can transcend belief systems, fame, and time. In sharing this truth, Cliff offers a quiet tribute to George Harrison and to the humanity beneath legend.